There we go. Welcome everybody to the 12:30 class on Wednesday. We are working in book number 15, and today we're going to do Somewhere Out There. And I think it's probably going to be the only song we do today because there's some interesting chords, and just like the class that some of you had with me a couple hours ago, we go into some different key centers. So you're going to have some new chords, and you're going to have to work a lot on the black keys. And that's something that we're unfamiliar with, but it makes for a good finger exercise. It's really good to learn some of this stuff. All right, so Somewhere Out There was recorded by Linda Ronstadt and James Ingram for the soundtrack of An American Tail in 1986, and I saw that with my kids when they were younger. That is an animated feature film about two little mousies who somehow get lost and away from each other, and they're looking up at the stars, and they're connecting through this song. Oh, here comes John. It won 2 Grammy Awards, one for Song of the Year and one for the best song written specifically for a motion picture or TV. Now, how many categories does the Grammy Awards actually have? Best song written specifically for a motion picture or TV. Seriously? And it also won Best Pop Performance by a duo or a group with a vocal. So lots and lots of nice Grammys. It was nominated for the Best Original Song at both the 44th Golden Globe Awards and the 59th Academy Awards. But this song lost both times to one other song. Can you imagine what it was? The year was 1986. Came from a movie. The movie starred Tom Cruise. Top Gun. Yeah, Top Gun was the name of the movie, and the name of the song was Take My Breath Away. So, you know, you can have the best song in the world out there, but if you're up against another really super great song, it does make it kind of tough. Okay, good songs are good songs, and we're glad to play them. Okay, I think I'm just going to play it first. The best thing is to go to your song setup. Most of you do have it in song setup. It comes up to on the beautiful Rialto. I'm on the beautiful Rialto. The Out There Ballad, which is the signature background for Somewhere Out There. And then I'm also going to give you some other setups that might be good for this. It comes up at 70 beats per minute. That is the speed, 70 beats per minute, or the tempo. And here we go, Somewhere Out There from An American Tail. Now you could actually end the song right there. That's not what the directions tell you to do, but if you wanted to, you could just end the song right there and put the ending on. Now what it's telling you to do is play a G chord and go back to the silly sign, DS al coda. Where's the silly sign? It's on page 89, the second page, second line. Beautiful Rialto, somewhere out there. Yep. Oh, we gotta let in some people. Thank you for waiting. And we'll let Pat in. Okay. Thank you for your patience, people who just came in. I just was playing the song, so I'm so sorry I didn't get you admitted. But we did it on Song Setup, and this is a song that you probably hear Robert do a lot of. This happens to be one of his favorite songs, and he plays it quite frequently. So somewhere out there. And now you'll be able to say, I can play just like Robert. So I'm also adding a couple of extra chords. Why? Because I can. And because it'll push you just a little bit. Now remember, this is an intermediate class, so you do not have to do any extra chords ever. So they're there to give you a little bit of a challenge. Some people find that the more they do them, the easier they are to play. Some people find that if they just pick one that sounds good, just pick one. It's going to make your song sound a little bit better, and the more you do it, it's going to start feeling comfortable under your fingers. And if you only get one new chord, you're 100% successful. So here we go. The C chord is good for 2 counts. Over the G half note for the word where, put in a C major 7. C major 7, which would be C and B, chickens and butterflies. Or you could put the B on the bottom. I know I tell you not to do that. I won't look. B and C. Make the F in measure 2 an F major 7. F capital M-A-J 7, which is E and F, elephants and frogs. And remember, the major 7s are jazz chords, and the mathematical formula is the letter minus 1. That's good for 2 counts also. Over the C quarter note for the word there, put a plain old F. Just go back to the plain old F. Now, you cannot play a chord. You cannot play a 2-fingered chord and just lift one finger and expect it to change. It will not. You can add a finger, but you cannot take away a finger. So what you have to do is completely release and then put the 1 finger down. Did you hear the difference? F major 7, plain old F. Just remember, you must release the complete chord before putting the F down, or it will not sound. The C chord is good for the entire measure. Let's go to line 2. The F chord is good for 3 counts. Beat 4, which is at the end of the measure, is an E minor or E minor 7. E minor is elephant and gorilla, E and G, and if you add the 7, it's the D, dinosaurs, elephants, and gorillas. That's beat 4. And that sounds really nice going into the D minor, which, by the way, if you want, you can make it a D minor 7. D minor 7 is C, D, F, chickens, dinosaurs, and fish. So that's going to just sound very nice. You're on an F, the E minor 7, the D minor 7. The G chord is good. The last measure of line 2, you may put 7s on both of those chords, or just play E minor and A minor, doesn't matter. E minor 7 is D, E, G, dinosaurs, elephants, and gorillas. And A minor 7 is C, G, A, chickens, gorillas, and alligators. Those of you in the military, I apologize for my animal creations. All right, line 3. You may put a 7 on the D minor. D minor 7 is C, D, F, chickens, dinosaurs, and fish. Over the G, beat 2. You may put in a plain old C chord and then go to the F. What you're doing is emphasizing loving me. Each chord, each note gets its own. So you're just kind of emphasizing those 3 syllables by playing a chord for each one of the notes. Second measure, the G can be a G sus, S-U-S. That's a suspended 4th chord, and it has 3 notes. Your 3 keys are C, chickens, D, dinosaurs, and G, gorillas. And that's good for 2 counts. Over the half rest, beat 3, go back to a plain old G. Now what that suspension does is exactly what you think. It hangs it up in the air. So here's a G sus. And then it resolves when it goes back to the plain old G. And again, you must completely release before putting your thumb back down. Don't just pick up those 2 fingers because it won't change. You cannot subtract fingers from a chord and expect it to change. You haven't told it to stop playing that other chord first. All right, the C chord is good for 2 counts. Over the G for where, beat 3, put in a C major 7. C, capital M-A-J 7, 2 notes, C and B, chickens and butterflies, or butterflies and chickens. I don't care if you go backwards. When you get to this level, you can kind of start to break some of the rules just to make it easier on your fingers. All right, the next line, F, C, F. That's good. The first 3 chords that are there are good. The second F, which is the last chord on that page so far, is good for 3 counts. Over the last note, which is an F, put in an E minor or an E minor 7. Dinosaur, elephant, gorilla. Let's go to the top of the second page. D minor, you may put a 7 on it. C, D, F, chickens, dinosaurs, and frogs. The G chord is fine for 2 counts. The second measure, you may put a 7 on both of those chords. E minor 7, A minor 7. Your E minor 7 is D, E, G, dinosaurs, elephants, and fish. The A minor 7 is C, G, A, chickens, gorillas, and alligators. The next measure, you may put a 7 on the D minor, C, D, F, and then the second beat over the E for some, go ahead and put a C chord, plain old chickens, and then the F chord. And again, same thing. Big, somewhere. We're doing one chord per note. The second line, no changes. Woohoo! Third line, the F and the G are good. If you play the G7, it's F and G. Second measure, make that F an F major 7. F capital M-A-J 7. Two keys, E and F. Then the G or G7, that's good. The next line, no changes. That's because we're going into that key with the flats. A flat, just put your thumb on the A flat. B flat is just the thumb on the B flat. If you want to play a B flat 7, it is A flat and B flat. And again, do not do this. A flat, don't do A flat. You could do this. You can add the note, but when you get to the second line and go back to an A flat, you can't just release your thumb. It won't work. You have to completely release the B flat 7 before putting down the A flat. And you can play it with your pointer if you wish. Or you can do thumb, B flat 7, A flat, B flat 7. A flat, B flat 7. You must completely release before putting down the thumb back to the A flat. Questions about the flats? Nope. Okay, let's go to page 3. The G is good. The C is good. The C is good for 2 counts. Beat 3 over the G for where. C major 7. C and B. Chickens and butterflies. Make the F and F major 7. E and F. Those are jazz chords. They're fabulous. Second line, the C chord is good for the whole measure. The F chord is good for 3 counts. Over the quarter rest, put in an E minor or an E minor 7. D, E, G. Then you have the D minor 7, D, F, C, D, and F. But you must play the D and the F. But the C is the 7. G7 is F and G. Next line, no changes. E minor 7, D, E, G. A minor 7, C, G, A. So you're repeating a lot. And guess what? That's it. All done. All done with chords. Okay. Now don't play them all if you don't like them all. Always let your ear be the final judge of what you're going to do. If you learn one new chord, if you only learn that F major 7 or you only learn the C major 7, you are 100% successful. And the more you see it and the more often you try it, the easier it will become. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing really well. Okay. Now there is a little bit of a roadmap, and I tried to tell you while I was playing. You play the entire song to page 3 at the end of line 3, and if you wanted to just cut it off there, you could. You could just do end of line 3 and be done with it. But the G chord, and end it on the C, by the way. If you're going to end it right there, end it on the C chord. If you want to continue, you play the G chord, then you play your little pickup note, or not. The pickup note is just that. You can skip it if you want, and go back to the silly sign. So if you make this yellow, go back to page 2, or page 89, and in the middle of line 2, you see that silly sign, make that a yellow, or whatever same color you used over here. Your eyes will follow the colors before they actually see the symbols. And then play the even though I know how very far apart we are. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You're looking for the 2 coda. Remember, you never go backwards to a coda. Codas only send you forward. And coda means tail in Italian, so it's the end. So to coda means you're going to the final ending. Do you see where it is?
Mhm.
It's at the top of page 3, top line. See where it says to coda? Right there. That means you are going to now go forward to the coda and finish the song. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Actually, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same as what's there. So why did they could have said DS al fine and just put a fine where I told you to put that C before. Why didn't they do that? Because they needed to use up the white space. Otherwise, you'd have a whole bunch of white space at the bottom of the page. Sometimes they do silly things like that just to keep it even on all the pages. Because trust me, the songwriters are not thinking about how many pages their song's going to fit on. They're just writing a song. And then when they put these books together, they have to go back and forth so that they can fit and save ink and paper, but they still need to make everything fit on the pages. And so sometimes it seems rather redundant or rather silly, but that's the only reason they do stuff like that.
Mhm.
Any questions? Nope. What are some of the other rhythms we can use? And I'll get to fingering in a minute too. You can also use basic, soft, and easy. Now, basic, soft, and easy, I decided to use the alter style. Why did I want to do that? Because it gives it a little more motion. Here's basic, soft, and easy. And here's the alter style. It's got a little bit more motion. There's a little bit more of an arpeggio in there. And so it gives it a little bit more stuff going on. So don't be afraid to try your alter styles if you have an organ that has alter style. You might want to play the first part of the song without the alter style and then throw the alter style in at a different point in the song. That's also a way to help keep your song stay fresh. All right, what else works on this? Well, my number one favorite go-to background, Strings 101, is absolutely fabulous on this song. If you have one of the smaller instruments, Freedom 3, mellow, easy 8-beat, or mellow heartfelt, or the mellow smooth 16-beat. That's actually a really nice background for this. Do not forget about the gospel. You have a background on there called Guitar Heaven, which is absolutely fabulous for ballads. Now, some of the other people that are out there with the larger organs, you've got so many different ballads and soft and easies that sometimes you forget about going to a gospel background. You've got some fabulous gospel backgrounds that are good for slower songs. They don't have to be gospel songs, so try them. They're excellent. The other one that people have a tendency to forget about is the Hawaiian backgrounds. Your Hawaiian backgrounds are also very nice for some of your ballads and some of your slower songs. So don't forget about them. And one that I did not use for somewhere out there, but also you should take a look at if you've got a slower song and you're kind of stumped on or bored with the same ones. Don't we always have a tendency to use the same backgrounds all the time? I do. Yeah. You might want to try a Latin. Go to a Latin and slow it down. It may sound fabulous. It may not. It depends on the song. But don't be afraid to try some of your other rhythms. You might find a recipe that all of a sudden you go, ooh, wow, does that sound really good? Don't get stuck in a rut. We all do. Why? Because we're human beings. Even if you go to the square here in the villages and listen to your favorite band, if you listen closely to the keyboard player, if they're using backgrounds like this, because some of them do, or just count the number of sounds they use. 5. They use the same 5 backgrounds. They use the same 5 favorite sounds. They could have a keyboard that has 10,000 sounds. They're going to use 5. Why? Because we're human beings, and we tend to stick with what we know. I see a lot of you going, yeah, I know, I use the same 5 backgrounds all the time, or the same 2 backgrounds all the time. I want you to start getting out of the box and trying some of your other rhythms on some of the songs that you truly love. So don't be afraid to try some of these other ones that you'd go, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of using Hawaiian for this song, but I think you might like it. I'm the same. I have a tendency to just stick with the favorites that I know. Try some new stuff. You might actually go, ooh, wow. Those of you that have guitarist and pianist backgrounds, those are also very nice to use on some of your slower songs. So don't be afraid to try them. And then, as I said, the alter style. Don't be afraid to take a look at that. What am I trying to get you to do? I'm trying to get you to get to know your instrument better. Get to know your instrument better. Punch the buttons. Do not be afraid of them. Because guess what? You can always go back to your favorite later. All right. I'm going to play this again. And I think this time, yeah, I'm going to use the basic soft and easy with the alter style. And I'm using a string with a bell on top. And I'm going to use an oboe on the bottom. So listen for the oboe. I'm still at 70. I will not play it through twice. I'll just stop at the C.
It is pretty.
Lots of birdies.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is a beautiful song. It really is. Yeah. Okay, you ready for some fingering? All right.
Yes.
E3, G5, E3, C1, D2, E1. Circle it. You're going to be tucking it under. G2, D5, C4. Second line, A2, then put a check mark. A1. There's two different ways to do this next one. Oh, let's do this. A1, D5, B4, A3, G2, and C1. If you don't feel like stretching that far, you can do a crossover in there. E2 at the end of the line. F3, G4, A5, F3, D1. Check mark. You're going to lift your hand and reposition it. And this is where you might want to put like a big L for lower keyboard or this go back and forth, because if you listen to the original, it goes back and forth between Linda Ronstadt and James Ingram, so you might want to change the sound. And you can either poke a preset or just go to the lower keyboard. E1, G2, A3, G2, A3. E1, G2, D5, C4, C4. A3, G2, A3. F1. Top of the second page, A3. D1. E2, F3, A5, G4, A5. Low A1. C2, F5, E4, D3, C2, A1, C2. Second line, C2. Now, here you can stay on the same keyboard, or if you want to switch keyboards again, just give it a U or an L so you know where you're going. C4, A2. C4, A2, C4, B3, A2, A2, G1. A2, A2, A2 on the third line. G1, G1, A2, G1. A2, C4, 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 D5, 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 B3, C4, A2. Now I changed this triplet to 2 quarter notes. I did the C and the A, C4 and A2, and I crossed out the B in the triplet. Now if you want to leave it in, you could do, but why? You're doing, it just makes it a lot smoother to skip that last B on the triplet and just play 2 quarter notes, the C4, the A2, and then the B quarter note, make it a 3. Play it the way it feels. It's going to be right. Guaranteed. Check mark. Now, if you're on the upper keyboard, put an L. If you're on the lower keyboard, put a U. Here's where you want to change singers. E flat 5, C3. E flat 5, C3. E flat 5, D4, B flat 2, D4, B flat 2. Next line, C1, C3, excuse me. A flat 1, C3, A flat 1, B flat 2. Sometimes you have to break my rule, the rule about putting a right hand thumb on a black key. Sometimes when you're in a scale where you have lots of black keys, you can't avoid it. Most of the time we do our darndest not to put that right hand thumb on a black note, but in some cases it's unavoidable and it works fine. Okay, now after that B flat for lullaby, put a check mark. And you don't have to go to a different keyboard, but you just want to kind of switch up your fingering and take a little breath. E flat 3, C1. E flat 3, C1. E flat 3, F4. D2, F4, D2. Let's turn the page. F4, D2, F4, D2, G5. Now, if you don't have any harmony on, here's where you might want to change keyboards again, L and U. You might also want to add harmony if you do not have it on already, because this is where the orchestra gets really big, and you want to use lots of effects and fill-ins, or add some harmony there if you wish. I actually went up an octave the first time I played it. Be careful that it doesn't get too screechy. E3, G5, E3. C1, D2. Second line E1, circle it, you are tucking it under. G2, D5, C4, A2. Check mark. A5, low B1. C2, D3, G5, C1, C1, B2 with a circle, crossing it over, A1, F5, low A1, B2, G5, 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 and if you want to end it there, that's fine. If you're playing the pickup note in line 4 to get back to the silly sign, it is A1, but you can completely skip it and just turn back the page and go to the silly sign without it. It's okay. It's just a word and. You don't need it. All right, let's do the coda. E1, circle it. You're tucking it under. G2, D5, C4, A2. Check mark. A5, low B1, C2, D3, G5, E3, C1, B2 with a circle, crossing it over, A1, F5, low A1, B2, G5, G5, G5. Okay, did I lose anybody? Questions?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
On the last page,
Mm-hmm.
fourth line at
Okay.
the very end, I
Okay.
put the check mark by the A, and then it's A5, and then
Yes,
ED.
correct.
What?
Yes, the A for the word through is a
Correct.
2. You're ending that sentence.
Correct.
Then the check mark goes right there by the rest. Then you're starting the next sentence with an A5. It's just going to make it easier for you to reach down to that low B with a 1.
And the BCD was what?
1, 2, 3.
Okay, got it.
Dawn,
Yes.
the second page, the A flat, can you read off the fingering again for the bottom line?
Okay. The bottom line, or starting where the A flat chord is in the fourth line?
Yes.
All right, let's do line 4 starting at the beginning. C4, A2. C4, A2. Cross out that next B and throw it away. And then the B quarter note is a 3. Check mark. E flat, 5. You have to move your hand completely or put it on a different keyboard. C3, E flat, 5. C3, E flat, 5. D4, B flat, 2. D4, B flat, 2. Last line, C3, A flat, 1. C3, A flat, 1. B flat, 2. Little check mark. E flat, 3. C1. E flat, 3. C1. E flat, 3. F4, D2. F4, D2. Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Dawn,
Yes.
the second page, the first measure, I didn't get any of that.
Oh, first measure on the second page is
Yeah.
A3.
Yes.
D1. E2. F3.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Anybody else?
No.
Nope. Okay. It's very easy to get off track. The minute you have to look up and look at something, it's very easy to go, wait a minute, where are we now? Yep, no worries. So I know some of you like to go back and check it out on YouTube, pick it up again. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask. It's okay to stop me and ask. We're good.
Can I ask a question about YouTube?
You may.
The last 4 lessons, whether they were your lessons or somebody else's,
Mhm.
have come in with a private video, and I'm not.
Somebody else said that too. I don't understand that.
I don't either. I thought maybe you did.
Nope, I'm gonna check on that today. I know Robert had not had a chance to post some of them because he was so busy last week with the recreational music making celebration and throwing together a few other things at the last minute that he had to do. Um, I'll check on that and find out what's going on. I know Zoom is evolving and changing some things, so we'll check on that. And it might be YouTube as well. I don't know.
I don't
Because
know.
I
But
know.
sometimes there are duplicate lessons between you and another personal assistant, and sometimes we just miss one.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I will double check it and look it up and see what's going on with that. And I don't know if Robert's aware of that either, so we'll find out. We'll find out. And sometimes there's nothing we can do about it, but it is nice to be able to go back to a lesson if you missed something and be able to go through your music again and review. It is nice to be able to do that. Of course, they're censoring more too. When we did the concert and I did Hotel California, they censored my song. It's completely cut out. I thought that was very rude of them.
What?
Could be.
Very rude.
At least we heard it.
Yeah, as long as you guys heard it live. I just wanted to hear how I can still fix it because that was only the second time I've ever done that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only way I can check myself. By the way, I don't like listening to myself on recording. I'm sure some of you don't like going to your phone message machine and listening to yourself on the phone message machine, but I highly recommend that sometime, if it's a song you love, sit down and record yourself. And if you're not sure how to record yourself, call me, email me, and I'll help you through it on whichever organ you're on. If you don't have an organ that records, and no, I'm not going to say come see me after class, although that is a possibility, you can always come to the store and record yourselves on one of the organs in the store. Now, why do I want you to do that? I don't want you to nitpick it. I don't want you to criticize and say, oh, you made a mistake here and you made a mistake here. I want you to record it without thinking that you're recording it. Play it musically. Play it the way you would sing it and, with all the emotion that you're going to play it. And then stand back and listen and go, wow, I've really come a long way and I really love what I did. And it's a good way to just give yourself a pat on the back. Or you might go, that second sound I used wasn't quite the right one. Maybe I should go back in and revisit and try a different sound. So, when we're watching the music and watching the buttons and trying to figure out where our fingers are going for chords, it's hard to really listen to what you're doing. So that is my advice. Find a song that you love. And, sometime when you're not really bothered, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're just having a great old time and you're getting really good. You've all had those moments when all of a sudden your fingers can do no wrong. You've all had those moments. Record it. Just hit the record button, put in your stick or your disc or whatever it is. Some of you have internal recorders. And just record it. Some of you who don't have it might even just want to put your phone up there and record it so that you can hear how far you've come, how much improvement you've made since you first started, and just appreciate what you as a musician are doing. Sometimes that's a great thing for you, and it will give you some confidence. Okay?
Okay.
All right. If there's no more questions, I'm going to play it one more time. And I'm going to play it on my favorite Strings 101. Now remember, I told you, get out of the box and do some of your own special things. But I always go to Strings 101 because it sounds pretty darn good. just a really pretty
I
song.
like it with
Yeah,
the
the hard part
strings.
is that part where you have the A flat and B flat chords. If that's the spot that really is throwing you off, for all intents and purposes, just pick a day and say, okay, today that's the only two lines I'm going to work on, and just play them over and over and over until they get under your fingers and get comfortable with that section, so that the next time you get there, you're not nervous about it. Your fingers will just feel comfortable going there. Don't ever just say, oops, I made a mistake, and go all the way back to the beginning and start again. Take the section that's really bothering you and just work those lines until your fingers get comfortable. If it happens to be going from a top keyboard to a lower keyboard and you're stumbling on that, just take that line and practice it over and over again. And yeah, you're going to have to look to get there. But the trick is to look away from your paper, look down here, and don't lose your spot. Know where you are. And that takes practice just like everything else. Any questions about what we did today? No? Yes?
I like it with the strings. Ooh,
Yeah, it's pretty with the strings.
Oh.
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yep. I hope you heard some good things today. I hope you got some good ideas. I hope you explore your instruments. If you want to take a look at your next instrument up, do not hesitate to email me. We can even get together on Zoom and do it. And then we can fill out a product survey sheet, because that's how you get registered to win for those valuable prizes. Remember what those were? There was a really nice music cabinet. And I think it's the same one, Jane and Leon, that you guys won. I think you guys were the first actual winners of that.
I got the
And,
big one.
and then there's a clock. There's a pretty wall clock. And that's Howard Miller, so that's
Wow.
also very valuable. And then I know some of you just like the tote bags. Tote bags are excellent. We can never have too many tote bags, right?
That's right. That's right.
I believe 2 o'clock is the variety class today. I don't know if it's at 1 or 2. I think it's at 2. Bart is going to be talking about learning to play by ear for those of us who weren't born with that gift, because anyone can do it. And I will attest to that, because I'm an anyone and he's an anyone, and you can actually develop your ear. And so I'm curious to actually see what kind of tricks and tips he's going to give on that. Okay, Jen, I'm going to call you. I'm going to email you some stuff, and we're going to do our product survey sheet later this afternoon. I hope you're not going anywhere.
Nope.
Okay, all right. And let's see, who else did I need to talk to yet today?
Are you talking to me, Dawn?
Yes, Genevieve, you're another one. Both my Jens. I have Genevieve Taylor and Genevieve Strumpf. Yes.
I
Yeah.
have a dentist appointment
You
next.
do? What time?
I have to leave now. 2
Oh,
o'clock.
okay. Okay.
Appointment is at 2 o'clock.
Okay. The variety class will also be tomorrow, so you can catch it tomorrow at 2. You
Okay.
should be repeating the same thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Jen. Everybody, love you all. This is a fabulous class. Next week, what are we doing?
Sweet
How about-
Caroline.
How about Sweet Caroline?
Good.
Yeah. Fun song. Fun song. We'll learn some good stuff with that. Excellent. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Some of you I'll see later, and some of you I won't see again till next Wednesday. But thank you for attending today, and have a fabulous rest of the day. Go play some music and enjoy. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.
Love you too. Thanks for a fun hour.
Thank you.